Every single smartest dog breeds list you've ever seen is measuring the wrong thing. And the dog at number 1 isn't the smartest, it's the most obedient. Those aren't the same. Let me explain what you're actually looking at. In 1994, a psychologist named Stanley Coren published a book called The Intelligence of Dogs. He surveyed 199 dog obedience judges and asked them to rank 138 breeds based on how fast they learned new commands and how often they obeyed on the first try. The results became the definitive intelligence rankings that every website, every breeder, and every dog trainer has been recycling for 30 years. Border Collie came in first, Poodle second, German Shepherd third. Afghan Hound came in dead last at 138. Here's what Coren actually measured. Working obedience, how many repetitions it took to learn a new command, how quickly a dog would sit when you told it to sit. That's it. He didn't test problem solving. He didn't test independent thinking. He didn't test adaptability or creativity or survival instinct. He tested compliance, and then we called it intelligence. So when you see a list that says Border Collies are the smartest dogs on earth, what it's really saying is Border Collies are the most desperate to please you. They'll learn sit in 5 repetitions instead of 20. Because their entire genetic makeup has been refined over 300 years to do exactly what a human tells them to do, immediately, without question. That's not intelligence, that's employment. Now let me show you what the rankings actually look like and why half of them are nonsense. Number 1. Border Collie. This dog will learn a new command in under 5 repetitions and obey it 95% of the time on the first try. Sounds smart, and they are. But here's what the ranking doesn't tell you. A Border Collie that doesn't get a job will invent one. And the job it invents is usually destroying your house. They'll herd your kids. They'll herd your cat. They'll herd light reflections on the wall until they develop obsessive-compulsive disorder. This is a dog that was bred to run 20 miles a day, managing sheep in the Scottish Highlands. You put that dog in an apartment with nothing to do, and it doesn't matter how smart it is. It's going to lose its mind. Intelligence without purpose is just anxiety with better problem-solving skills. Number 2, Poodle. Standard Poodle, specifically. Nobody takes this seriously because of the haircuts, but poodles were originally water retrievers bred to swim into freezing lakes and drag dead ducks back to French hunters. They're smart, legitimately smart, but they're also neurotic, prone to separation anxiety, and if you don't train them properly, they'll train you instead. A poodle will figure out that if it barks at the door, you'll get up and check. Then it'll do it every 15 minutes just to confirm you're still paying attention. That's intelligence being used against you. Number 3, German Shepherd. Police dog, military dog, protection dog, learns fast, works hard, extremely biddable. Also, one of the most overbred, health-compromised breeds on the planet. Hip dysplasia rates are north of 20%. They're smart enough to learn complex tasks and dumb enough to keep working even when their hips are falling apart, because selective breeding prioritized obedience over structural soundness. That's not intelligence. That's just sad. Number 4, Golden Retriever. Everyone's favorite family dog. And yes, they're smart. They learn commands easily. They're eager to please. They're gentle with kids. But put a Golden Retriever in a room with a Labrador and a plate of food and watch which one figures out how to open the cupboard and which one sits there waiting for permission. The Lab wins. Every time. Because the ranking measures obedience. The Lab doesn't care about obedience. The Lab cares about food, and when you need to solve a problem to get food, the dog that ignores your authority is going to figure it out faster than the dog waiting for you to say, okay. Intelligence in the wild isn't about following orders, it's about surviving without them. Let's skip ahead. Number 7 on most lists. Labrador Retriever. Less obedient than the Golden, which is why it ranks lower. But talk to anyone who works with detection dogs, service dogs, or search and rescue, and ask them which breed they prefer. They'll say Lab. Not because Labs are better at following commands, but because Labs are better at improvising when the command doesn't make sense. A Golden Retriever will do what you trained it to do. A Lab will do what you trained it to do. And if that doesn't work, it'll try 3 other things until something does. That's intelligence, but it ranks lower because Coren's test didn't measure that. Now let's talk about the dogs at the bottom. Afghan Hound, ranked 138 out of 138. Dead last. Dumbest dog in the world according to every list you'll ever see. And it's complete garbage. Afghan hounds were bred to hunt gazelles in the mountains of Afghanistan without human direction. They'd run ahead of the hunters, spot prey, chase it down, and make decisions in real time about how to corner it, because the human was half a mile behind them on a horse. They are independent thinkers. They don't need you to tell them what to do, because for 2,000 years their job was figuring it out themselves. So when you tell an Afghan hound to sit and it looks at you like you just asked it to solve a calculus problem, it's not because the dog is stupid, it's because the dog is asking why, and you don't have a good answer. Obedience tests measure how much a dog cares about your opinion. Afghan hounds don't care about your opinion. That's not stupidity, that's self-respect. Same thing with Basenjis, ranked 124. Beagles, ranked 131. Both are scent hounds bred to track prey independently for hours without human input. You can scream commands at a beagle all day and it'll ignore you because it's got a rabbit scent in its nose, and that rabbit is more important than you are. That's not low intelligence. That's high focus and a complete disregard for authority. We rank them as dumb because they won't sit when we say sit. Meanwhile, they can track a scent trail that's 3 days old across 5 miles of terrain. But that's not on the test, so it doesn't count. Here's the thing that makes this whole ranking system even more ridiculous. Coren's study only tested purebred dogs recognized by kennel clubs. No mutts, no mixed breeds, no village dogs, no wild dogs. And guess which dogs survive without humans? The ones that think independently. The strays in Istanbul that have learned to ride the subway to get to better scavenging spots. The street dogs in India that look both ways before crossing traffic. The mutts that figure out how to open dumpsters, avoid animal control, and live 15 years on the street without anyone feeding them. Those dogs didn't make the list because they're not registered, because they don't have pedigrees, because intelligence in the real world doesn't get ranked by kennel clubs. And here's the part that'll make people mad. The smartest dog breed isn't a breed at all. It's a mixed breed mutt with survival skills baked into its DNA from 10 generations of street dogs who figured out how to live without humans telling them what to do every 30 seconds. But you can't sell that. You can't breed it. You can't charge $3,000 for it and hand someone a pedigree certificate. So it's not on the list. The #1 dog on every smartest breeds list is the Border Collie, a dog so neurotic and human-dependent that it'll herd your furniture if you don't give it a job. Meanwhile, there's a stray in Sao Paulo right now that knows which restaurant throws out food at 9 p.m., which alleys are safe to sleep in, and how to avoid getting hit by a bus. Which one's smarter? The one that learned sit in 5 repetitions, or the one that learned to survive without you? We don't rank intelligence. We rank compliance. We measure how fast a dog will do what we want, and we call the fastest one smart. And then we're surprised when the Afghan hound looks at us like we're idiots for expecting it to care. The rankings are real. The methodology is real. The results are real. But what they're measuring has almost nothing to do with actual intelligence and everything to do with which dogs were bred to take orders and which dogs were bred to make their own decisions. If you want a dog that'll learn tricks fast and listen to commands, get a Border Collie or a Poodle or a German Shepherd. If you want a dog that'll solve problems you didn't teach it to solve, get a mutt from the shelter that's been figuring things out on its own since it was 6 weeks old. Just don't confuse obedience with intelligence. One of them keeps you alive when nobody's around to give commands. The other one just makes you easier to train.